Hello everyone, AlphaSoul here, and welcome to another video. Today's video is 10 of the most interesting things that I found from the Ask Me Anything live stream that Steven and the Intrepid crew had on July 25th, or yesterday for those of you who are watching my video right now. Now, it was a good thing that they got this live stream up and running. There's a lot of excitement within the community and within the MMO community as a whole for Ashes of Creation, especially with New Worlds delay coming out, and there's people are just really starving for a new MMO and something that is exciting, and Ashes of Creation is filling that void. So Steven stepped in and held an Ask Me Anything thread, and just really good answers all around. But in general, it was a great setup. It was at Steven's home. If you've ever seen like the Pathfinder, sessions that he usually has, you'll notice his home from there. Beautiful home. He's got a it was a good audio setup. It was well lighted, very fantastic on that portion. And he had about, I want to say, there was about 6,000 people that were on the main Ashes of Creation live stream, and then Asmongold had his, and then there were other streamers actually streaming it as well too. So there was a lot of people actually watching it and eyeballs on it. And one of the first things that he mentions that got me really excited up again was the fact that he is the sole shareholder of the company. He's the one that's bankrolling it. And so that worry that I usually see with most of these MMOs that come out, of them getting changed because of creative direction, because the publishing company wants something another way, that's not going to happen with this game. It's all going to be vision. And that's one of the many reasons that I have decided, to back the Ashes of Creation video, the back of the Ashes of Creation development. All right. So with that, let's just get into the 10 most interesting things that I pulled out from it. Number 1. Oh, one last thing before I actually get started, I forgot. I'm going to list off these questions, but they're not questions verbatim. I'm just kind of summarizing them. I'm going to have a link down below to the specific questions. I think it's already been transcripted, if you will, so you can see some of the specifics. And I'll also have a video to the Intrepid video where the live stream is now up. All right, so let's get started. Question number 1. Rogues, how will they excel at delving? Is this true? Steven had mentioned earlier on that rogues would excel at dungeon diving, and you would want to bring them along for different reasons. And the base reason here is all about utility skills. Each class is going to have utility skills where you're going to want to have one of each archetype, if you will, or each archetype is going to have utility skills. And rogues in particular will be able to find secret doors. They'll be able to find traps within dungeons. That will be their utility, if you will, to bring them along. I'm really curious as to some of the other classes' utility, but I really like that idea. And he talked about specifically like Pathfinder and D&D, how there are utility skills within that often get used, but it's not really present in MMOs per se. I know that they kind of have it around, but the spirit of it really isn't there truly. One of the closest games that I can think that tried to do this, there were certain SWTOR, for example, had certain, if you picked up certain classes, you'd be able to traverse a dungeon in a different way. Like you'd be able to break down a wall with archaeology, you'd be able to hack a machine to get to a lift that would allow you to shortcut some things. So yes, I'm curious as to what all these utility skills will have, but welcome addition. Number 2, can you toggle cosmetics? This answer changed, and I think it changed for the better, for that matter. The short answer is no, you will not be able to toggle cosmetics. In other words, what I mean by that is when somebody is walking around, you will not be able to turn off an option where you can just see their base figure and you won't see their cosmetics, right? You will be forced to see their cosmetics, with one exception. The exception is when you're in a large battle, there will be an option that you can turn on that will force everyone into, like if you say exceed like 100 players on screen, or 200 players, whatever it may be, it'll force everyone into their base look, if you will. So you won't see anything else. It'll be like a base look, so that your machine can handle all these players on that are on screen, if you will. So I thought that was a very good idea, just because one of the advantages of, using cosmetics and changing your skin is that you appear you appear the way that you want to appear to other people. And I think that is very key for the game. And so this shift to make it so that, and to only kind of allow it to be hidden if there's, performance issues, that to me makes sense. And it was a really good decision. Next, what happens to a caravan if you are in the middle of a trip or you get DC'd? And the answer simply is the caravan keeps going on. Perfect. I think if you go to a role where the caravan disappears, if the main person kind of gets disconnected, it becomes rife with abuse and something that you can really game for the system as far as goes. So caravans in general seem to be something that you want to run with multiple people as well too. So if you get disconnected, then people are going to have to pick up the slack and message you when you get back on, and you're going to have to catch up. So I think that is a good idea. Next, number 4. Who gets the drop from world bosses? Now, this question was specifically in relation to groups competing, for mobs, basically, or for a legendary raid boss. So let's say you have an open world legendary raid boss, right? The way it's going to work is the first group to tag it, right? Let's just say, I'm group X, I tag the creature. I will be required as group X to do 40% of the damage, right? Whereas the second group that attacks it can still get credit for killing it, but they'll have to do 60% of the damage. And whoever hits that threshold first, whether that first group hits 40%, that second group hits 60%, whichever group hits that first will get to loot the monster, right? And so I like this approach to it. I played many different games that have handled this in different ways. Some lock out any damage from any other people that are around, depending on the first group to tag it. And there are just many kind of weird ways to go about it. I like this system because it reduces the abuse, if you will, because I've often seen in games smaller groups will just tag a mob so that a larger group can steamroll it and they can get the loot. This kind of eliminates all those shenanigans and stuff like that. I really do like that system, and I thought it was a good response. Number 5. Will a player's health and level be a mystery? I really loved this answer. So in a nutshell, you will be able to see a player's level. You will be able to see what a player's primary, makeup is, whether they be heavy armor, medium armor, light armor, whatever the case may be. Now, I'm curious of some specifics for that, but we'll see how that actually shakes out. But you will not be able to see an exact person's health. So you won't be able to see it go down like by 70% or see his bar drain or anything. What you will see is like something that's akin to like a color-coded reduce, right? So at 100% health, you'll have like green, 100% to like 80%. Once you go below 80%, your health will to like turn yellow, right? To somebody who is attacking you in PvP. Once you go down to like, say 40%, you go orange, right? And once you get below 10%, you'll go red, right? Or something like that. That's going to be the general gist, right? And I really love that. I really like that because that introduces a lot of like variation and cool things that you can do. For example, you can have it tied to a stat. Like if you're a tougher person or something like that, you can maybe have that red bar only appear when you get to like, I don't know, 5% as opposed to 10% for everyone else, right? Or you can cast a spell that is like false health, right? So for example, it would never reduce your health to a player, at least, below green or below yellow. You would always appear green until you just keel over and die, right? Or you could do the opposite. You could do something like, fake, fake frailty or something like that, where you instantly turn red with like 1 or 2 hits or something like that. And, they're like, why isn't this guy dying? He's taking so much damage. Why isn't he dying? And can really throw things off. And so there's a lot of trickery and things that can be input into a system like that. I heard that and I got really excited, and that's going to be great for PvP. Love it. Next, what is the power difference in levels? This was another answer I loved because it's one thing that drives me nuts. In a nutshell, you will have no advantage in Ashes of Creation for simply being a higher level, right? So, for example, you will have advantage obviously with more stats, more skills and abilities, potentially better armor, things like that. You'll have an advantage of, but you won't have an advantage of simply being another level. Games like World of Warcraft, for example, or even other games, if you were, let's say, out of the level range of 5 levels, you started taking on massive penalties for trying to fight or attack anything higher than that level, right? And a lot of games kind of do like this, where there's just a simple level penalty where it doesn't matter, what the stats are, what your stats are. You're going to start whiffing like crazy. You're going to take extra damage from somebody who's that much higher than you. That's not going to be in Ashes of Creation, and I love that. I'm the type of player who, as a level 10, I'll pick a fight with a level 30 just because I want to try, right? And I like the ability that my things will still do damage, but it's not an end-all be-all where I'm simply discounted because I'm such a lower level, right? And I don't get a huge advantage because I'm a higher level than that. I'm still gonna have an advantage, but it's not gonna be that silly level advantage. And I really liked that response. All right. Next, so this question was around family links. This one I am not necessarily a fan on. So basically, you will be able to summon people that are within your same family, if you will. Like, you'll be able to create a family, and you'll be able to summon them, and the idea is that you'll be able to quickly kind of go through and, like, you log on and your family member is, somewhere else. So, you're going to have to, to avoid having to run to them or get to them, you can just instantly summon them. I'm not a fan of that at all. One of the things that I really liked about Ashes of Creation was, kind of bringing that, making flying rare. Teleports are rare if they are there, and I don't like having a family member, if you will, kind of go through and then get that instant teleport ability, because you can conversely use that to gain an advantage in PvP, whether it be a solid group of 8 that you can kind of get into there. And I do like the aspect of having to think about travel and think about getting from place X to Y. That is one aspect that I really like about Ashes of Creation. I really hope they reconsider that portion of the ability to summon. Like, I realize that, they're going to add a cooldown, but still, I'm not the biggest fan. I'm really a fan of the make the teleportation rare, or even have hubs or something like that, but make it rare. Don't make the world small. That's my opinion. Summoning abilities. I thought the summoning ability answer was very interesting. Like, having the ability, to create a summon that's kind of with you. It very much reminds me of like the Necromancer in EverQuest. Very key, and I'm curious to see, how they're going to be doing things, but I really liked his answer in terms of, be able to pick like a tank, support, DPS type. They're not timed. They're not, they'll only go away if you like log off or you chain summon or something of that nature. It'll be interesting to see how summons actually go and how, cool or critical, somebody can, get with the summoner class. The summoner class is a tricky class, I find, just because it often waffles between becoming too powerful by being able to summon and basically be like 2 people versus too weak, and someone's not really doing nowhere near enough. So it'll be interesting to see how they tackle that one. Number 9, cash shop and visual progression. How will the cash shop not destroy visual progression? This one, so let me start off by saying I very much appreciate the honesty that Stephen gave here for this one. To sum it up, there are basically the main reason why the cash shop is actually there, and specifically for like visuals, is to help support the project, right? If you think about it, the monthly subscription, comparing it especially to other MMOs, it's simply not going to be enough in terms of bringing in, more than likely it's not going to be enough in terms of bringing in revenue, and the cash shop is going to be there to help support it. And he explained that it actually goes to pay for various other things in that nature. But the reason why I was very appreciative is that he was very straight and upfront with us. The fact of the matter is, cash shop visuals will be just as good as things that you can get in like a legendary raid, and that's the point. You need to make it, visually appealing in order to do that. Now, the only reason why I'm kind of sad is because you do kind of lose out on some of that speciality for it, for achieving like a cool looking piece of equipment or a cool looking item when you can buy a similar one in the cash shop. But I do think that it is an understandable sacrifice. And you know, I'm perfectly fine with that. It doesn't necessarily affect gameplay. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah. Yeah, I was going to touch on something more, but I don't want this video to get any longer than it has already. So the last question, number 10, do you need to be a shipbuilder to create, or do you need to be a shipbuilder to create a ship? And the answer is no, which is a very good clarification, because I thought, you know, going down the shipbuilding tree will be the only tree that you'll be able to build ships, but apparently no matter who you are, you'll be able to build a ship. The shipbuilding tree will be responsible for the quality of components that make up that ship, so you can create a better ship, and that is cool. That makes sense. Awesome. Yes. Yes, so that was overall a very exciting AMA. Check out the more specific answers for it. You know, I just kind of hard touched on what I thought were the most interesting ones. Let me know what you guys thought were the more interesting answers from this session. All right, that's it. Thank you guys. Take care of yourselves, and you guys have a great day.